goodness.
I'm Kallie St Clair. Hello, everyone. So excited to have you here in this space. I am a doTERRA wellness advocate. I am an essential oil educator, as well as a yoga teacher and a plant-based nutrition workshop leader. And I am here with my beautiful life coach, Alexia. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation today. So just a little bit of background here on how Alexia and I connected is that she and I somehow connected through Facebook. I'm not sure who added who, but we somehow connected through Facebook. And she didn't know this, but at the time I was going through a lot of big changes and things that I felt were shifting in my life. And so she happened to message me and ask if I wanted a complimentary heart activation to see what it was like. And by the end of the call, just after that little glimpse, I was just feeling so much lighter, had so much more clarity, and all of these divine messages were coming up for me after our first call. Like, you talked about the infinity symbol, and one of the first things that I saw the next morning was I did a little card pull, and it was the infinity symbol.
I
And
remember.
so I knew in that moment that we were meant to have a relationship and that I was meant to do this with you. So that's just a little bit of background on how we met. And so now I'm going to allow her to give you guys a little rundown of what heart activations are and what it is that she does.
Thanks, Kallie. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. Kallie, I remember those signs that you began to see after after that activation, and I remember her sending me messages and photos about the symbols and signs she was seeing everywhere. That it was just synchronicities, right? Which were just messages from your angels showing you that you're on the right path. I am a soul journey coach. I'm a transformational coach for moms and for women, and a light worker, and a conscious parenting advocate as well. So I'm very honored to be on this path, and I'm very blessed and honored to know Kallie. She's actually my first year-long client. She doesn't really know how important she is in my life, but I try and I share that with her as often as I can. So a heart activation is, it's actually it's a transformation that happens from within, and it's important for this to happen because they raise your frequency, okay? And raising your frequency is what allows the changes to happen in your outer reality. So as you raise your frequency, you get to become clearer about what you want in your life. You get to become more aligned with what you want in your life, and you actually get to come closer to the things that you want to create in your life. So, for example, if we would to have a conversation about the vision for your life, what you have, what does that look like for you? You would have this beautiful image and this beautiful, canvas of a vision. But that vision is literally at a different frequency of where your current life is. So heart activations help you to get to that frequency of your vision, and they do that by connecting you into your soul's codes. So you get plugged back into your soul's unique codes. It's literally like, plugging you back into source. That's what it is. And it is important because it's part of our human design. It is part of who we are as a humanity. It's part of the way our body is built. We have that intelligence within us. It's a part of the design of being human. Okay. And if you follow Christ as an avatar, his life actually shows us the activations that happen within a lifetime. So if you take a child, and if that child is not tarnished, which is very, very difficult to have in this day and age, that child will go through the different phases in their lives, and there will be events that will activate that child so that the DNA shifts, right? The DNA gets activated into their spiritual and soul codes. So by the age of 33, which is the age that Christ was crucified, by the age of 33, that child is actually supposed to be Christ-like. So, you know, he resurrected, he was able to transport himself as light, and that is the possibility that we have as humans, as that is our intelligence, and that is what the Bible means by, become like Christ. So the path of our humanity is to remember that that's who we are, and to actually do the inner work to become that again. We are that already, but it's just that so many programs, so many lies, so much conditioning has actually really constricted us so much on the inner, the matrix on the outside, but also on the inside, so that we're unable to connect with that intelligence. Okay, and the heart activations help you to connect with that intelligence. It helps you to connect below the radar of the brain and the mind, so that you go into the soul language of who you are. And I think, yeah, so the whole journey is actually about you becoming unified in the compassionate heart. So Christ is the compassionate heart, right? So us becoming unified with the compassionate heart and becoming unified as light. That's what I see our journey as humanity becoming.
I love that explanation.
Yeah, and each person just doing that inner work, so that they become more and more the highest version of themselves, and that is Christ-like, becoming Christ-like. Bye.
And I know one of the things that you said that has always really struck with me is that the heart is the only non-polarized organ in the body.
Yep.
Do you want to go into that a little bit deeper too, and just like the power of the heart and when it's activated?
I actually learned that from one of my very first coach, and he was the one that introduced me to the Heart Math Institute, and the real power that we have within our hearts. So coming into coherence with your heart is probably the most important thing you could ever do in your life, because they say that the Heart Math Institute says they've been doing research for years around the heart and the power of the heart, and scientific research, right? It's not woo-woo stuff. It's scientific research. It's there's statistics, there's charts, there's equipment that they use to read this information. And they're saying now that the heart is actually the first brain, whereas traditional science has been telling us that we first think and then we feel, but now we're learning that the heart is actually giving the instructions, or at least should be giving the instructions, or should be allowed to be the steering wheel, should be allowed to be the driving. You should be in the driving seat within your heart, and then using your brain to figure out the action steps and the logistics of what you're trying to create in your life. So the heart actually has a magnetic field, and when it is in coherence, when it is in its natural state of ease and calm and peace and harmony, it is actually pulsating, and it's got like a frequency. They call it the auric field, and it has like if you see it in an image. Sorry, just give me a moment.
No worries.
Sorry. I don't know if you could hear that buzzing. There was a timer buzzing away. Could you hear the timer?
But that's okay.
So if you were to see a drawing of this, it would be, and I'm sure you have, where from the center of the heart, there's this beautiful energy field going outwards like that. So it's like creating two big loops. So this is the infinity loop, right? And when the heart is in coherence, and when you activate it in your heart is allowed to have this infinity loop, and it's also forms the basis of reciprocity, giving and receiving back and giving and receiving. You asked about the power of the heart. The heart is the most powerful tool that we actually have in our spiritual belt. It's when you go into your heart, you have the power to heal so much, because love is the bridge, right? Love really is the bridge, and the heart, at the center of your heart, that is the center of creation. we have the seed of life. The blueprint of the seed of life is inside of all of us. And when we begin to get activated in these codes and get activated in the sacred geometry of life and how God created everything with this, the seed of life. You know what the seed of life is, right? That image with the flower of life. And that is I'm reading a book called The New Humanity. And it's Karina's book, Karina Stewart, and she talks about how this pattern, it's in all of our hearts. It's in our DNA. It's how we were created, and it's how we are supposed to be creating as well. Not only birth, life, but anything. And it comes from being unified in your heart. So when you look at that image of the seed of life, everything actually is unified at the center. And then the different loops begin to come out. So your heart is the center of creation. Your heart is where creation starts and begins to flow out.
I love that. And that just reminds me of, I even used to hear this when I was really young too, that there are more receptors from the heart to the brain than there are from the brain to the heart. And so whenever we started working together, I was like, it clicked for me that makes total sense, that this is going to be your most divine center for wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah.
Because when you think about how much we overthink, like how much when we get this divine download, we get this vision of what we want in our lives, and then the thinking mind comes in, and we start telling ourselves
analyzing
beliefs and comparison, and all of that comes from the thinking mind. That's not from the heart.
No. Yeah. So we tend to go into over analytical mode, and then doubts start to come in, and then how am I going to do that? I don't know how. I'm not skilled. I don't have a computer. I don't have internet. I don't have who knows all the things that come through, because that's the job of the mind. That's the job of the brain, to protect you. It's to protect you from things that might harm you. So whenever a new download comes in, or you get an intuitive hit to create something, and that you're meant to be doing something more with your life, so you get this inspired hit, right? And you're euphoric, and you're feeling, wow, I can actually do this. Then the mind comes in, and its job is to protect you. So what was this word I was going to say? It's like a radar, right? It picks up signals, and it's picking up signals in your body that are not normal, that are new. So it's going to try to protect you from whatever is new that's coming in. And that the way it protects you is by telling you, no, you can't do that. It's not the right time. You don't have the money. What are other people going to say? And, thousands and thousands of different programs that come in, stories, and they're all programs. It's all a program. Programs of scarcity, programs of lack, programs of abandonment, or not being good enough, worthiness, all of that. And then we work through those layer by layer with the power of the heart.
Yeah, I can say from my own personal experience with this year being 2020 being the chaotic year that it has been, as far as just on a global scale, that this has still been the best year of my life, which sounds like it's crazy.
Oh, incredible.
But it really has been, because I do feel so much more led through my soul and through my heart, that I am not second guessing myself. I'm not allowing those limiting beliefs. And, even when I started this podcast, if this had started at the beginning of the year, I would have definitely talked myself into okay, but is anybody going to watch it? Is anybody going to listen? And saying how am I going to do this? All of these limiting beliefs coming up. And when now, that I started it now, having it been 9 months since I've started working with you, it's almost like my heart wouldn't even let my brain think that way.
Yeah.
It's like my heart knew that I just need to take action, that I just once I take action, I will be guided, I will be taken care of. And so I can feel that shift in so many different areas of my life, but that's just one example that I have felt tremendously.
Yeah. And the action that you speak about, Kallie, is also, it can be as simple as just making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's also taking action. So once you make a decision about something, you're moving forward, whether there's no right or wrong decisions. So staying in indecisiveness is actually one of the worst things somebody can do. So I always give advice, like, just make a decision, whether you want to do it or not, just make a decision. And then you can move forward from that decision. So it's important to take that action, make the decision, and then continue momentum, so that you don't, get that procrastinating and, feeling stuck and, how am I going to do this? I don't know. I'm giving up. It's too hard, right?
Yeah. And that's funny that you say that, because that's always this thing that I tell people when they say, like, what's the hardest part of building a doTERRA business or just building your own business in general? And I was like, I think honestly, making the decision to do it was for me the hardest part, because again, it was those beliefs and those,
Yes.
what are people going to think of me? Like,
Yes.
what? And so
Yes.
once I made that decision, I was like, okay. And then, now it was like the universe and my body opened up to receive what it is that my next steps needed to be. But when you haven't made that decision, it just seems like a cloud or like a fog.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. You said so well, and it's exactly how it is. I mean, when I made the decision to really commit to my business a couple of years ago, that was a very hard decision, because it meant that I had to actually take myself on. It meant that I actually, right, this is it, you're gonna show up. You're gonna show up and walk the talk, and not just, tiptoe around being a coach and tiptoe around wanting to help people. So making the decision actually puts you out there, and it's telling the universe, it's telling God, okay, I'm ready. Show me what else I need to do. And then again, it's always, show me what's next, show me what's next, show me what's next, because we never can see really far. We don't have to. That's the magic of this life. We don't have to see what we're going to be doing months down the line. It's great to have a vision. It's great to have a long-term vision, because that keeps you hooked, right? It keeps you hooked into that amazing future self of yours. But at the same time, you don't need to know all those little steps in between. You get to just be committed to the step you're in now, trusting that all the other steps will be shown to you when they're supposed to be shown.
That's so perfect, because like you said, I think one of the biggest things that we run into is the how. Like, how am I going to get to where I want to be? But once we start taking action steps, it becomes so much clearer with each step. And that's something that I just was thinking about and tuning into yesterday, actually, like just this exact subject of how it's important to have intention of what it is that you want to do, but to hold on loosely to to how you get there, and even the timeline of when you get there, because everything is going to fall into place when it needs to, when you're ready. And so when you trust, like, that was one of the biggest things that I have fallen into with all of this, and something that you remind me of often is to trust.
Yep. Yeah. So what does it feel like to trust when you finally settle into that feeling? How does it feel to really just surrender and trust? Let's share a little bit about that for your viewers. I mean, it's an empowering and very, very beautiful way to live.
Yeah, it's almost like, when I can compare, because I was in a really dark place when I was growing up, like where I was in like high school, college, on depression medication, and had this very bleak view of life, and I couldn't really see like a future. I couldn't really see myself as like that being of light. Like, I saw myself as just like this human who isn't really worthy of a lot, who is just a little speck in the universe. And so now that I have tapped more into that trust, this is something that Kallie and I talked about a little bit on the last podcast too, is that I almost look forward even to the breakdowns. Like I look forward to like
So
the things that come up for me, like the shadow work.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, like even like the shadows aspects of me. Like yesterday during my, for an example, yesterday during my activation, some feelings started coming up of like this like envy, like jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
And I, instead of like judging myself or trying to suppress it and like stuff it down, I just like kind of embraced it and was like, you know what? I love every aspect of me. You know, I'm really grateful for this message. And right afterwards, I had a huge breakthrough. Like it was crazy. Actually, somebody reached out to me that I hadn't talked to in 12 years that
Wow.
apologized for something that they'd
Wow.
done. And
Wow.
so it was like, the better it gets, the better it gets. And so, and that's what I think leaning into that trust does. And it gives me the chills just like thinking about it and talking about it, because when you trust, you start to understand that when people come into your life and people leave, it's for a purpose rather than trying to cling on to things, trying to cling on to situations, because as you said, the brain is very much against change, even if we are miserable and we're in a state of not wanting to be where we're at, our brain is comfortable there. But when we're in that trust and in our heart, like change is exciting. Like I'm like in awe of like the things that come into my life.
Yep. Yeah, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. You didn't share about that breakthrough in Voxer.
No, I know.
I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out on that. But that's beautiful. That's exactly how it works. Because when I mean, how powerful is that to be able to witness the envy and the jealousy, and then just trusting yourself that you can go into that, and that you'll be okay, and that there's something else for you on the other side. I mean, this is not what we're taught in school. This is not what we're taught from our parents. Bless them. They did the best that they could with the resources they had. Sweetie, are you hurting me?
Got your doggy.
Yeah, but this is like a whole new ball game, you know, where we actually get to embrace our emotions, because our emotions are our guidance system. I keep saying that they are guiding us so that envy and the jealousy was actually showing you that you're not actually in alignment with who you are at your core. So go deeper, go into this. It's okay. It's coming up because you can go into it. You're ready, right? You're ready now. Otherwise, it wouldn't have come up for you. So we get to have the courage. Courage has been coming up a lot as well this week. For me and for some of my clients, you have the courage to trust that you'll be okay, and you can go into any layer of yourself, any wound, any trauma, any past experience, any grudge, anything you've done wrong that you believe you've done wrong and you feel like crappy about it. You can go into that and you can find healing and you can find release from that by just trusting and going into the emotions. And then you actually have an activation in your life through that. So these little events that keep happening in your life that like create a breakthrough for you, those are mini activations in your life. They're activating you on the inside because of your awakening. So you become ready and then you get activated, and then another like screen comes up for you to break through. So everything has its purpose, everything has its role. Everything is here to help us to just become more of who we're here to be and to support each other. So it's a network, right? We're a network. We're all connected and we're all helping each other to become that highest version of ourselves and to create this heaven on earth. That's become like my mantra for the past couple of months, creating heaven on earth. And it can be different for everybody, but it's based on love and it's based on the virtues of the heart. So it's kindness, compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, peace, right? Peace. So in 2020, it's like the dark things are being uprooted because so many are being awakened now. So much energy has come in this year that's really activating people to awaken to their next level, their next highest version of themselves. And it's, we're being revealed things that we would not have been able to handle years back. So it's the time is right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And those traits that you were talking about, especially what came up for me was a lot of unforgiveness when we first started working together. And I think a lot of people can really resonate with that one, because unforgiveness trickles into all of those different areas. You know, you don't really feel totally at peace when you are harnessing unforgiveness towards, you know, other people, but especially I think towards ourselves. And so that has been one of the biggest breakthroughs I think that I've had, is seeing my past as something that has led me to where I am in this moment, instead of feeling like, because I'm one of those people that's like an introvert who overthinks all these things. And so, you know, I think about something that that happened 10 years ago, and I'm like, this is keeping me up at night. And so I used to be one of those people that, like, I would replay things in my mind and be like, I'm embarrassed, or I'm like ashamed. And like, those are such low vibrational frequency emotions. And so when you start tapping more into that, like forgiveness, as you said, and peace, and just understanding of where your past self was, you just are able to see things so much more clearly. Like, so that when I think of it more from the perspective of, like, they say that when we pass, one of the first things that happens is that you replay your entire life, but in a very objective way. So you're not judging yourself. You are not, thinking of it like in the human mind. But so that's how I kind of think about it, is like, when we're tapped into our heart, it's like you can see your past for what it is, instead of judging it.
Yes. Yeah, without putting any meaning around it, that, you know, it's actually, you're attached to that, and it's defining you. So you get to actually get the lessons. So you reap the lessons from your past, and, you know, sometimes they come up again in different layers, and it's just a higher learning. So the deeper you go, the more you learn about yourself, and the more you can let go of the past. Because and then you get to be rooted in the truth. You get to be rooted in the truth of who you are and how you're made and why you're here, right? I like to talk about everybody being a piece of the puzzle, like God or the universe is this beautiful, huge puzzle that we don't actually see the bigger picture, but we each have a role to play, and the each person's design, each person's blueprint that's in their heart is the puzzle, is part of the puzzle. So when you're activated, I like to think of this analogy, when you're activated in your heart, it's like your piece, you're fitting into the puzzle, and it's actually, you're like clicking in. It's like when you press the piece of the puzzle in and it clicks into the puzzle, you're like clicking into the puzzle, to the rest of the puzzle, and you're activating, and that gets to activate the other pieces around you as well. So by you getting activated and awakening to your true codes and to who you are as a human being, you're allowing others to do the same. So you have a ripple effect, and you're spreading that, and you're pulsating out into, you know, the puzzle pieces that are around you. So it's your environment and the people that you connect with, and it's your business, and it's, you know, your family, the children that you get to touch their lives, and this beautiful, it's a ripple effect, and it's that seed of life, right? It just keeps those loops keep on going out and out and out. That's what it's all about.
I love that. That reminds me of, actually, when I first, I think it was back when I first had an early Instagram. That reminds me of what my bio used to say, and it was a quote from a song in The Prince of Egypt. Out of all the movies, it was so weird, but this line always resonated with me, and it was, "A single thread in the tapestry, though its color brightly shines, can never see its purpose in the pattern of the grand design."
Wow.
And so when you think about, like, it almost like, it gives me the chills, and the cry. Like, I mean, we all are just such bright lights, and but when you can't see it, we see it through like our earthly vision. But when you look at, like, you know, we know this from the way that the Bible speaks, and from any, you know, any scripture, is that God does not see us as these limited, you know, like horrible people. He does not see that. He sees us as these beautiful creatures that he loves, and that he sees us as this infinite light. And so that quote to me was,
yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's really, really powerful. Sorry, Kallie, just give me a moment. My little one's screaming.
The beauty of motherhood. It's And for those of you who are wanting to find her on social media too, she has Instagram, a Facebook page, and since she was talking about the ripple effect, that's actually the name of her business too, which I think is extremely appropriate for the work that she does, because I have had so many, especially things come up for me around waves and ripples and, you know, water and all of that since we've started working together. I was just telling them how to find you on social media and how the name of your business is actually the Ripple Effect, which is perfect.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Which is perfect for your business.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I thought of that name back in 2011 when I became a life coach, and I remember I had a whole page of names and you know, that I wanted to call my business, and none of them resonated with me. And then one day I just thought about the ripple effect, and I thought, okay, that's it. That's the name. And I think it's like timeless, and it really says what we had to do, you know, become that ripple effect and become the change that we want to see. And just to like understand that you're pulsating something even when you're not conscious of it. So you're creating a ripple even if you're not conscious of it. So we get to become conscious. So there's like a phase. You can become conscious of who you are. You become conscious of, you know, the energies you're vibrating, the frequency you're transmitting, the light that you're giving out. And then you become actually, so before that you're passive, right? And then once you become aware of all of this, you become the co-creator of what you want to create on this planet. And then your ripples become deliberate, and they become conscious ripples, and they become empowered and charged and high frequency, right? So that actually you shift into purpose, being purposeful about what you're transmitting out there, and being purposeful about, you know, your thoughts, and understanding how some thoughts are also collective thoughts, and you get to, you know, choose which thoughts that you want to focus on and which ones they're not yours, and you can just as easily let them go instead of like nitpicking things that are, you know, bothering you.
Yeah, I would say like you use the word passive. That is a perfect way to describe kind of how the viewpoint I had of life and the life path that I was going was like whatever comes my way. It's like, and I think a lot of people do that, like where they're waiting for an opportunity, like, you know, if they're in a job that they feel stuck at, like waiting for something else to come in, instead of being that creator, being that person that creates the life that they want to live. And so that's like, that is precisely the mindset shift kind of that I went through a little bit with going into doTERRA full time, but then also really amplified since we've started doing these heart activations together, is that I now know that I can visualize anything that I want for my existence. Like, instead of feeling like I'm stuck, feeling like I'm victim to whatever life throws at me.
Yep. Wow, that's beautiful. Sophia? Τι πράγμα? Μίλα πιο καλά. Τι όμως? Τι? Έλα πεις γεια σου στη Kallie. This is my little Sophia. Okay, you can have a biscuit. Get a plate, okay? All right, and leave Amelia downstairs with me. That's bien. Okay, don't take the dog upstairs. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. So for the next, like, before we go into the heart activation here at the end, do you just want to go into really quick about how it is that you got started doing this work. You said you started becoming a life coach in 2011. So I would love to hear your story.
Okay, thanks. So I was working in a corporate job in 2011. That must have been about 11 years already. Yeah, something like that. And but I was experiencing pain in my body. So I had like physical pain standing at the fax machine or washing the dishes. There was like a pain running the back of my legs all the way down. And I couldn't explain why. And I had gone to doctors, orthopedics, and everybody was just telling me they can't find anything that's like biologically wrong or pathologically wrong. And it's probably in my head. So so finally I began searching online. I was thinking maybe it's my, the alignment of my shoes, my feet, and I would maybe need some insoles. So I began researching insoles, and I found a website that looked very, very, well, it resonated, and it looked like they knew what they were doing, very, very high-tech insoles. And I sent them an email, and somebody phoned me within like a couple of minutes. And it was a guy from... Take it all down. Take it all down.
She's so cute.
She's in her ballet leotard, and she needs the toilet, and she can't take it off. So this guy, this osteopath phoned me within a couple of minutes, and he told me, you have to come to Nicosia. I want to see you. Nicosia is 2 hours away. So I booked an appointment and I went, and then we began treatment together. And he was basically, it was basic conversation, to be honest. And I just loved every minute of it. Whenever I left from there, I felt so amazing. I felt really, really happy, really, really relaxed and free. And the pain in my legs was starting to, disappear. So on the last visit to his office, I made a note to look at the certificates on his wall. And I noticed NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So I didn't know what that was. So I Googled it, and I found out what it was. I read about it, and it really, really intrigued me because of my personal experience with the doctor. And then I pursued to do a live in-person training in Dubai for 10 days. It was an intense 10-day course to become certified as a life coach. And it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know what to expect. I just trusted, and I didn't have any kids at that time. So it was, perfect timing. My husband just told me, if this is something that's speaking to you and you want to do it, I support you, go ahead. And then that was that. And then I came back after 10 days and I wanted to change the world. But of course, it wasn't so easy. So then I became a mom. Like within a month, I fell pregnant. And so my business took a back seat. I wanted to immediately start building the business. So Fema, you got to put on some clothes. Okay. Εντάξει. Πρέπει να βάλεις ρούχα, εντάξει. Έχεις μέσα τσάντα στο σχολείο. Όχι μετά τώρα, θα κρυώσεις.
Relatable.
Yeah, you could bear it. So the last, when I fell pregnant with Sophia, when she was conceived, when I was in maternity leave, I knew that if I had gone back to my job, then it would just be going back to that comfort zone and really just getting stuck there. And I knew that's not what I wanted. There were people in that job that were there from their 20s and they were 60 years old, and I didn't want that. So my husband and I, we agreed that I would resign, and I resigned, and I became a stay-at-home mom with 2 kids and trying to run my business. And so I focused mainly on moms because I'm a mom myself, and I just really, really knew the challenges that goes with it. But then I realized that I needed a coach myself because I didn't know what I was doing with my business. I didn't know how to get it off the ground. I didn't know how to break through my own glass ceilings. Even though I was a coach, I needed somebody to, see my blind spots. And I hired my coach. It was the best thing I ever did. She's been an incredible gift in my life. And it's complete, from being in a place where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how you're going to do this, how you're going to break through, and make your business succeed. she's helped me to see things that my brain wasn't allowing me to see. So it's important to be connected and to be surrounded by people that see more than you see in yourself, right? That because whatever you see is also like it's limited to your conditioning, and you're working on that, right? But if you're working with a coach and they've succeeded in everything you already want to do, right? And then they can see your experiences and they can see where your blind spots are. And it's such an incredible experience having somebody tell you, Alexia, you can take year-long clients. You can help and support these women and moms to transform their lives, and you have to do that. I mean, this is part of your path. This is part of what you're here to do. And it was just it's such a beautiful experience to have that and to be able to do that. So yeah, and that's where I am right now. 2020 has been the best year of my business. It's been an incredible year in my family. We've come closer together. We have really seen what we're capable of as a family. And yeah, I like to say the sky's the limit, but even the sky is a limit. So there's no limits, right? There's really no limits when you begin to get on this path.
Yeah, I love that. And we have had that conversation a little bit before of like, as we're moving into this, new earth, this new consciousness, we are all so needed to speak to the people that were where we were at. And so, I love that, like, I have a life coach. You have a life coach. Your life coach has a life coach. Like, it's just this continual us giving and receiving, because we all are so necessary in our voices, but we also do have that limited perception because we all know that we're our own worst critics, and that we have our own limiting beliefs and things that, you can see past, because you can see the potential in me just as I see potential in other people that I'm working with.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's perfectly said. I mean, like if I'm going through something and I just connect with my coach, she'll like immediately, she might even say something so like obvious to me, and I'll be like, oh, duh, of course, why didn't I think of that? Because when you're in the problem, you're in the problem, right? You're not really seeing the solution, and it takes time. Whereas when you have a coach, you can solve things like that. You can alchemize your stuff so much faster.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you want to add about heart activations, or would you like to go ahead and go into it so people can experience it for themselves?
Heart activations, they are just beautiful and powerful. And I just like to add, I think I've already mentioned it to you. One of my other clients, she used to have chronic heart palpitations, and the doctors put her on a device to be able to read, her pulses and her pulse rates. And then when she became a client and she started doing her heart activations regularly, within a couple of weeks, the palpitations stopped. So when I asked my coach, what's the explanation behind that? Because I like to have like a logical or scientific, reason behind things. Sometimes it just makes things really like solid,
Yes.
So she just said, Alexia, her heart is opening up and her heart is receiving the love that she's pouring in, and she's getting through the activation. So it's like her heart is remembering its natural state. Yeah.
Spirit is always ahead of science, but our thinking mind always wants that scientific explanation too.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. Okay, so I think we covered quite a lot.
Yes.
And
amazing conversation.
I know, we could go on for hours, hey.
Maybe we'll have a part 2 sometime.
Yeah, whenever Kallie and I have our coaching calls, we could like talk for hours, and the time goes so fast, and it's so beautiful. Having all that beautiful connection. So should we do a activation?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'm excited for people to experience this.
Do you think there's anything specific we should like work on, or should I just see what comes through?
see what comes through.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I usually ask for people to close. Well, you got to close your eyes because that just helps you to focus on your heart more. And then you can put your heart on your on the center of your chest where your heart chakra is. So we're working on the energy of your heart, the heart chakra. And all you need to do is to have an open heart, and I will just see where this beautiful space takes us, and I will share, just follow my voice, follow my guidance, and we'll see where it goes. Okay. So as always, we start with the breath, because the breath connects us to that, the inner part of us, the source, our creator. So start with a beautiful full body breath. And just feel your body filling up with life. Imagine that your breath is going into all the spaces, all the cracks, filling up all those little nooks and crannies on the inside, literally touching everything. And on your out breath, the same. So your out breath gets to touch all the seen and unseen in the environment around you, the molecules, the air, the oxygen, the carbon dioxide. Your breath is touching it all. And I'm just feeling this beautiful expansion, expansiveness happening on the inside. So just imagine you're creating space on the inside with your breath. So feel your body just expanding on the inside. It's like you're walking into a beautiful big house, but the house is empty and it's just space all around you. So feel that space. Now I'd like you to take your attention to your heart, and right at the center of your heart is a pinpoint center. I want you to breathe through that space. So it's as if your heart is your lung. So you're breathing in and out of your heart. This is activating the heart lung, also known as the guard lung. And this is where we're going to be doing work. So breathing in and out through that center point. And now we're going to activate your light. So imagine there is a light switch at the center of your heart. And it'll be like walking into a dark room. When you flick the switch, the light goes on. So go ahead and flick your switch and command the light in your heart to go on. This is your soul's light streaming through your heart, breathing into that light, and with each breath the light gets to grow and grow and grow until your heart is full of light. And now that your heart is filled with light, it begins to overflow with light. So feel that the light gets to the outer borders of your heart and it begins to run over and fill up your body. So it's the same, similar to filling a bucket of water. Your body is being filled now with your light. Your toes, your feet, filling up to your calves, your knees, up to your buttocks, your torso, and all the way up your spine, up to your crown. So you are saturated in your light. You're a being of light now. Your light is activated within you, streaming loud and clear through you, in your body, in your cells. Feel the vibration of the living light inside of you. So as you keep breathing into your heart, the light begins to overflow out into your environment, out of your body into your environment. So let's see how far your light can go. Filling up the room, spreading out into your neighborhood, your town, the state you live in, your country. And now see that light actually going around the whole planet. Feel the power of your light creating a ripple all through the planet. Now there is also another element coming in, and this is there's trees. So imagine that your body, right, the core of your body, your torso, the whole center pillar of your body is the trunk of a tree. So you are a tree and you have roots, and the roots are being charged by this beautiful light. They're getting their nourishment, their nutrition through your soul's light. Now see your roots going down into the earth's surface and taking root really, really deep into the earth's core. And the roots are actually they're light roots, right? They're vibrating with light. So they're plugging in now to the earth's angelic field. They're plugging into that crystalline grid, connecting with those higher frequencies that are constantly supporting the planet and humanity. So you're plugging into that now. And it's feeding your roots even more. So bring up that nourishment into your body with gratitude, bringing up that beautiful energy from Mother Gaia, bringing it up into your heart, receiving it with gratitude. This is also symbolic of receiving wisdom. So Mother Nature, Mother Gaia, she's giving you wisdom. She's giving you tools that you can use in your everyday, tools that you can use in your struggles, in your challenges. And all that you need to do is tap into your heart with your breath and ask. You get to ask, what is my next step? Show me what to do here. So keep breathing into your heart so that we can stay grounded. Just reading and scanning if there's anything else that's coming through. There's a, this is the first time, there's like a rainbow headband. It looks like a headband, but it's rainbow colors, rainbow frequency, rainbow energy, and it's just warping around our heads. And I'm seeing that as it's an upgrade, upgrading the brain, upgrading the mind, with the high rainbow frequencies. And that also means more fun, more joy, more playfulness, more light coming into your brain, into your mind, and just like tapping into the higher consciousness of whatever you're experiencing in your life right now. Okay, so there's always two choices. There's the fear consciousness, and then there's the love consciousness, or the freedom consciousness, and you get to choose which one you want. And that's where the rainbow comes in. The rainbow is the freedom consciousness, and you're activated in that rainbow right now, so you get to tap into that. Rainbow frequencies are part of how the world is created. It's part of how we are supported with as humanity. And as I'm sure you know, the colors of the rainbow are the same colors of our chakra system. And I'm not sure if you know this, but there's also a second layer of rainbow colors. They are the pastels. They're more like pastel rainbow colors, and those have other tones to them. And from what I've heard, it's about a whole new chakra system, energy system being shown to us. Okay, so that's some intel for you here. And there's some beautiful tones coming in now of diamond lights, diamond tones coming in. So I will support you with these tones to integrate them into your body. Just keep breathing into your heart. See the diamond settling into the center of your heart and getting activated in your heart. Okay. You can keep breathing in and out. Keep this, well, we get to say thank you. So just imagine there's a beautiful pink energy, pink light that you're giving out in gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And when you're ready, you can come back into the room and open your eyes.
Wow.
That was beautiful.
That was so powerful. Thank you, Alexia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kallie. Thank you to whoever this reaches, and if it resonates with you, just reach out and we can have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to each of you who made it this far and who have listened to this, because you are having a huge ripple effect that you may not even be able to see yet, but we appreciate you for that as well.
Yeah.
So thank you, Alexia.
Much love.
Much love. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.